Welcome back, guys. On this episode, we are cutting all the excess weight that's on this bike that's not needed, getting stuff prepped for the next step, and getting a good jump start on my rear sets. So follow along. One of the things before I get going too far, this is a 16.5-inch bar that I had for the Olin's. This is what I had for the Olin 16.5-inch rear stocks on my other bike. Luckily I have Motowa's building me a set of 17, so we're going to swap that over now. Before I get too far, so I got this off Amazon. Super cheap plastic rear fender. It's like $17, $18. They take pretty good hits, believe it or not. They have a ton of flex to them, so if you go down on this thing, it just twists wherever the heck it wants to. It doesn't, I haven't had one break, so I highly recommend it. So all I do with these is I just drill a hole where I see it fit, where it kind of where I want that to lay. And then when I drill the hole, I go a little bit left and a little bit right. That way, when I put it on the backbone of the bike, or when I'm looking down the backbone of the bike, if it's not, so I don't want it twisted left or right, I have that adjustment before I get crazy and start my final process of mounting these. So I can have it, I can tweak it left, I can tweak it right where it sits nice and flush. You look up the center of your bike and it's, it just flows. I know it's crazy when you think of it like a race bike, but it's just a little extra time, goes a long way, and it'll make it look better. Of course, until you crash, but you're gonna crash. So it's hard to tell, but with the 17.5-inch rear, it's gonna make this bike perfectly level if I drop the front 1 inch, or if I decide to just keep it stock ride height and build it up. Now that we get that where I like it, everything comes up nice. I can take these struts, what I'll do is I'll take my grinder, I'll mark it to follow right along with the fender, so I can go on both sides here, cut this right down, that way when it's all done and flush mount, the frame will mount nicely with it. So just somewhat roughed out, and what we'll do is we'll bolt the fender back on and see if I need to take any more or whatnot. This one here is my first one that I built. Happy with the way it came out, but that's why I'm building the other one, because a lot of things I know I can do different. So right now we're going to start working on is actually, I don't know how that got in there, but so this aluminum plate here, I took a piece of 1/4 inch aluminum plate and used it as my sprocket cover. So we're going to be making another one of those, and I'll show you guys how that process goes. But before we do that, we're going to take that motor, get it back in the frame. Now they got everything cut down, ready to go. Oh, I still got to lose my steering tab. Next step. All right, so we're at a good point now. I'm gonna get the motor set back in, ground everything off. I haven't touched here yet because of the oil tank hasn't showed up. I just want to make sure. No sense in cutting twice. So we're gonna get the motor thrown back in here, and then I'm gonna work on, pretty simple. That's the stock dry pulley cover. It doesn't work for what I want to do, so we're going to take this 1/4 inch piece of aluminum that I got off Amazon, cut it all down, drill it, tap it, and show you how I can reverse the rear brake for the rear sets that I'll be adding back here. So rather than your regular foot, your mid mounts being in the center, we're bringing them back about 8-9 inches all the way to the back of the rear motor mount. We're going to use the 2 lower bolts. In doing so, straight bar it, and getting ahead of myself. But let's get this motor put back in. Still losing weight. Tonight I'm going to pop off the cam cover and trim. There's a bunch of metal here. It's for show. Doesn't need to be there. So what we're going to do is we're going to end up taking like 1.5 inches, almost 2 inches down here at the bottom, and bringing this nice and around. So I'm going to get all this ripped apart here. I'll show you how that goes. Sometimes you get lucky and the cams end up staying in the bike. Sometimes they come with the cover. No worry, they all have alignment dots, so you can put it right back together. So I'm going to tear into that and we'll get that cut. In order to get the cover off, don't forget to do this. It's a learning experience the first time. You feel real stupid once you go on YouTube. Alright, so next up, this is the breather. Crankcase breather. I'm going to remove that, but I'm going to save it. I'm going to go back in. Just a cheap pair of adjustables, all you need. Then I found, stupid simple, just grab a piece of scrap wood, some small deck screws. So when I'm going to take this cover, now that you can see the inside, I'm going to lose all this. All the support, these little support braces, we're going to cut that off. It's an extra pound and a half of material we don't need, especially on this bike. So now I'm just going to take this, like I said, find some deck screws, something you don't care much about. And this just makes it a lot easier to do your cutting and trimming when you're in the vise and all that good stuff. An extra set of hands. Here's that. Then I'll line up another hole that I can use for trimming purposes. And all that does is give me something now that I can put in a vise, extra set of hands. I can do all my cutting, nice and simple. Just remember your screws come through. So I can put that in just like that. There, now I can take my grinder, nice cutoff blade, and just start following this down and around and lose all that material. Piece of aluminum. All right, so like I said, I got this piece of aluminum off friggin' Amazon, and I'm going to show you. Super simple. not a show bike, it's a race bike, so I don't give a damn. So this is, so I end up taking my rear sets and turning the rear master cylinder around and running it in reverse. But in order to do so, I need this plate. I'm going to get rid of this original cover. Just going to use it as an outline. Once I get my holes all marked, I can cut and shape this however I need to and however I want to. And in doing so, all I'm going to do is grab a can of spray paint. Real quickly. Put this wherever I want, hold it still. Hit it, hit it, hit it, hit it. That'll give me a rough estimate. What's up, guys? So that's it for this one. As you saw, we got this thing trimmed up. Lost everything I could: cam cover, brackets, mounts, struts. We got those gone. Plastic fenders. I got a plastic front fender that we'll be mounting on the CRF front end when that returns in a couple weeks. Up next, I'll be walking everybody through the process on the rear sets. As you can tell, they're mounted on right now. But stay tuned for that. I'll show you the process of how I made it, what works best for me, and how I made it work for my other bike, and it's held up really well so far. But yeah, that's the jump start we got on the next step, and on to the next one.